Ali, the comments you made earlier about the Palestinian Authority and how it has and still wants to establish a single gun, a single hand of violence, reminded me of the comments of Saeb Erekat that were leaked in the Palestine papers, which I know you reported on a lot at the time. And
this is back in 2011.
Yeah, that it came out. And I was just looking up his comments, and what Saeb Erekat, of course, was the Palestinian Authority's chief negotiator at the time, and in a 2009 meeting with the US envoy, Middle East envoy at the time, he said, "We have had to kill Palestinians to establish one authority, one gun, and the rule of law. We continue to perform our obligations. We have invested time and effort and killed our own people to maintain order and the rule of law." So that's what he was saying privately at the time, being very candid, and that is still the way the Palestinian Authority operates.
This whole idea of the one authority, the one gun, actually it goes back to the German or Prussian sociologist Max Weber, who said that, famously said that what defines a state is that it has a monopoly on violence, that the state is the only body that is allowed to use violence. And that's where that comes from. And that's what they're trying to sort of use here to legitimate this anti-resistance position, that only the state, only the central government should carry weapons. And they're using the same reasoning in Lebanon too. But the problem is, well, in Palestine, there is no state. There is no Palestinian state. It's a make-believe. It's a fiction. No matter whether or not Keir Starmer or Emmanuel Macron recognize this imaginary Palestinian state, it doesn't exist. And so when they talk about the Palestinian Authority having a monopoly on violence, they're actually talking about anti-Palestinian collaborators having a monopoly on violence. So it's the perverse opposite of what Max Weber was actually talking about. And they're using the same thing in Lebanon. But of course, a state loses that monopoly on violence once the state no longer has the capacity to defend its sovereignty, territory, or its people. And that's when resistance becomes legitimate in international law. And I've talked about this in the past. The Constitution of Sweden. I'm taking Sweden because, we're always told how advanced and civilized the Nordic countries are. And, they're always the highest on the Human Development Index in the UN and so on. Well, go and read the Constitution of Sweden. It says that if Sweden falls under foreign occupation, it becomes the duty of all state officials to support the resistance. It's in the Swedish Constitution. So what the Swedish Constitution is codifying there is this principle that once the state loses its capacity to exercise and defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity, then the right of the people to resistance comes into play. And of course, this is also reflected in international law. And so Lebanon, as a country which is unwilling or incapable of defending itself against Israeli aggression and occupation, the right of resistance comes into play. And the same is true in Palestine. When Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron recognize the state of Palestine, what should actually happen is they should say the following. If they want to be in compliance with international law, they should say, we recognize the state of Palestine. However, the state of Palestine is under occupation. The authorities in the state of Palestine, which we recognize, have no capacity to exercise their sovereignty and defend their borders against this foreign occupation. Therefore, we support the resistance. And we're going to send weapons and support to the resistance in Palestine. Not training collaborators, which is what they do, what they want to do.